All right, everybody, welcome into the Elite Picks podcast, where we combine AI-powered player prop recommendations and our own insights to help you win big betting on the NFL. I'm Tyler here with my guys John and B. Dot, and we've got a jam-packed show for you all today. So let's dive right into our best bets for this Bucs and Falcons Thursday night matchup. John, let's kick it off with you. Tell me what's your best bet on this one.
Well, before we get to that, first of all, you guys didn't give me the memo on the shirts here. I should have worn a collar. You guys are looking awesome right now, and I'm just here in my gym shirt or whatever. So you guys got to give me a heads up when you're gonna wear a fly shirt like that. B. Dot.
Hey, man, the picks that I made last week, I had to come professional, bro.
Hey, man, well, I was gonna say if we're doing that, I guess my shirt fits for this week. We're on a hot streak here, so. But we're gonna keep trying to continue with that. I got Bucky Irving over. Actually, I have it. So it says 10.5 on the slide. I got him over 9.5 rushing attempts on FanDuel. I think that line was available on DraftKings earlier today. Check out your sportsbook apps, obviously. But I love this bet because I've kind of noticed a trend on snap counts here. Obviously, the RB1 in Tampa is Rachaad White. They were kind of splitting 70-30 the first 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden last week, it switched to like 58-42. And Bucky Irving was on the field a lot more, as well as handling all 5 red zone rushes for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's an interesting trend to look for when you're talking touchdowns, yards. But I really love, he hasn't cleared this over 10.5 line all year, but it's really trending in that direction. And again, obviously the EP score kind of can see that a little bit too. But so I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about, I need to trade Rachaad White right now in fantasy, because the trajectory does not look super good at this point. Bucky Irving looks really dynamic, and obviously his first year in the NFL, huge upside. And the other thing that I have for you is the Falcons have the second most rushing attempts against them through 4 weeks. So they don't give a lot of yards on the ground, which is why I didn't go with his rushing total. I like his rushing attempts here because teams like to run the ball against the Falcons for whatever reason. So that's my bet of the week. What do you guys think? A little RB2 action here, a little under the radar?
No, I like it. I was looking at Price Picks, and the line was at 10.5 also. And I was and I'm glad you gave me some insight on this, because I will be picking that for one of my parlays currently. And he plays for the Bucs, and his name is Bucky. You got to give him the ball, bro. It's gonna with a name like it, with a last name.
That's
like
a football
Irvin.
name. That's a football name right there.
Come on, man. Like with a last name like Irvin too, i.e. Kyrie. Come on, man. It got to be some type of magic, man. And they both got the same amount of letters in their names combined. Man, it's going to be Bucky's week, bro. Tomorrow, Bucky about to go crazy. 15 rushing attempts for Bucky.
I love it. It's a Madden creative player name. That's what that is. But Tyler, what do you think? You think it's a pretty good line there?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the odds, roughly getting double your money on this. And as you said, it does seem like the Bucs really aren't sure who they want to be the guy. Not that there necessarily needs to be a guy, but Bucky Irving, there was talk about him coming into the season, and some of the projections and things like that are starting to come to fruition. So for the odds, for the odds, I think it's great. And B. Dot didn't really think about the Bucky part of this bet with the Bucs and the Bucs. So that's even more an intriguing aspect of this bet, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm gonna have to tell you too, because I'm a big fan, as I said, of the odds here compared to maybe some of the other plays that we've seen in the past.
Yeah, it's kind of a pick your poison kind of thing too, because you can go over the 10.5 for plus money if you want, or over 9.5 for your usual around -110, -113, I think is what I got it at. So again, if you find this prop in the Elite Picks app, it's really convenient to scroll down. You can see it on all the major books. That's like one of my favorite features of it. So I don't have to go and log into everything, 2-factor authentication just to check a line. So that's super convenient. But to say, B-Dot, what you got cooked up for this week, this Thursday night matchup?
Man, I'm taking a page out of Tyler's book, man. I'm going with Darnell Mooney over 46.7 receiving yards. He's hit this his last 3 games. It's been going, the trajectory has been going down, but I mean, he's still hitting 50 plus yards in those games. So definitely looking forward to him to hit this line. And I got to go with my boy Analytical Ty. He knows these 2 wide receivers, these non-main wide receivers, and he's been hitting like Ray Rice. So I'm definitely gonna go with Darnell Mooney on this one.
That's a reference I didn't think I hear early in the Wednesday show. Good. I love it. I love it. I think that's a good pick. He's cleared that line like what, 4 out of his last 4 or something like that. You're right. It is trending down a little bit. He's gotten closer to that line, but he started that journey at like 80 yards a game. So this one might be close. I think, I noticed with some of Tampa Bay's defensive stats that they don't allow tons of yards per completion, but they do allow lots of yards over the course of a game. So they allow lots of attempts and a smaller yards per completion. So he's probably going to need a few completions to get it done, but he's somebody who's, he's really shown himself as a contributor on this team. And, I like the angle there. And he had did you guys see that nasty catch that he had last week? He had a really good highlight reel catch. So he's a talented dude. They're going to keep getting
Tampa Bay, their passing defense is right in the middle. They're like 15, 16 in the league. So it can go either way, and they're playing at home in Atlanta in that dome. I always call it a dome because I'm so used to it being a Georgia dome, man. And then Mercedes-Benz.
It's pretty much a dome. It's just got an open top. They got, the star roof or whatever that does. It's cool looking. So I'd still call it a dome.
Yeah, and look at that EP score, man. 86.62. It's trending in the right way. So I like my pick. I like my best bet for this week.
I love it.
I like it. I like it too, man. I believe he had over 50 yards last week. And
56. Yep.
Correct. And there was even 2 or 3 passes there. Some got deflected. One bounced off his hand. So Kirk definitely sees him as a viable option. So I still think that where you have this number at, even compared to last week, it's still too low, especially in a competitive game, divisional game that we're going to have for Thursday night. So I love it, man. Keep feeding the moon, man.
What you got for us, Ty?
Yeah, I can. I'm gonna stick to these wide receiver props because I've been doing pretty well on them this year. I'm gonna go with Chris Godwin over 65.5 receiving yards. To simply put it, he's reached this in 3 of his last 4 games to start the season. Godwin is pretty much back in that slot position role that we've seen him in prior years, and it's obviously been working with Baker. He's been getting 6+ receptions in each game this season. So that's one of the main reasons, in my opinion. Another is the Falcons' top cornerback, A.J. Terrell, is probably going to have to be dealing with Mike Evans on the outside. So I expect Godwin to be able to take advantage of some mismatches in this game. And to circle it back around to the app was talking to me this morning, guys, with this player prop with an EP score of around 98. It may be, if I'm not mistaken, the highest EP score of this Thursday night game. So for all those reasons, man, give me Godwin over 65.5. I think he's going to get over 70 yards in this divisional matchup. So we're gonna keep this streak going.
I love it, dude. And it was definitely the highest DP score out of this game, for sure. Like if you hadn't bounced on it, I think me or B-Dot would have for sure. But yeah, no, it's a great line. He's been, I think he has more yardage this year than Mike Evans so far, right?
Oh, by far.
Definitely more consistent across the way too, because Mike Evans is a lot of up and down. I know Mike Evans' EP score was pretty good for this game too, but I wasn't brave enough once I saw the consistency across it. But Godwin definitely has that, and 6+ receptions a game you said so far. So yeah, that sounds like some good consistency to me. And who's not on the Baker train at this point? I mean, if you're not on it, get on it. So
Baker touchdown maker.
Absolutely.
All right. So now that we've given our best bets, we've given out our best bets for this Thursday night game. I do want to talk about the game sides and who we may be picking to win this game, or at least cover the spread. So, John, start us off. Which side are you on for this Thursday night matchup?
Well, my game picks record this year is not as good as my prop record. We're on a heater with props. We're going to see if we can start a heater here with game picks. But I'm going to go with some points here because I like taking points when I see this is a pretty much an even matchup. Atlanta obviously with home field advantage here, but this is a divisional game. Divisional games are notoriously closer than everything else, and in that case, close games give me the points. And I think the Bucs have a little bit more blowout power, if that makes sense. Like they have that high-powered offense where I don't think Atlanta is going to run away with anything. I think even if the Bucs are down 2 touchdowns in this game, I think they have the horses to get back into it. So any kind of way that this game plays out, I kind of like it in Baker's hands. And I'm going to say that Baker has the edge over Kirk when it comes to vibe. I know that doesn't mean much, but I think that that's definitely a point in the right direction. But B-Dot, who do you got for this game?
I'm going with the home team, man. I'm going with ATL by 3, by a field goal, brother. Man, they've been meshing together. I thought they were going to get their tail whooped, last week against the Eagles. They came together. Kirk is finding his cousins in Mooney, and he's getting the ball out right. So I feel as though that offense is coming together. Still waiting for Bijan to have his breakout performance, but other than that, I feel it's going to be a close game, a high scoring game. But I got the Falcons. I got the Falcons ATL minus 1.5. I got them winning by a field goal.
Nice. Well, Tyler, what about you? What do you think?
So yeah, this wasn't an easy one to cap necessarily, but I got to go with the Bucs plus 1.5. Bucs have dominated the Falcons in recent years, folks, winning 7 of the last 10 matchups. So I do like that trend. Now, in particular,
how many of the games Tom Brady played?
I was gonna say, who's playing quarterback for Atlanta through those? So we got like Marcus Mariota and. Who else? Who else was on that? Who else was playing quarterback for Atlanta last year?
The light-skinned guy from last season, man, I forgot his name, bro. That's how bad they've been. But my bad interruption, Tyler. That just, it hurts me when y'all go against me.
I was taught that the name on the front is more important than the name on the back. So I can only
unless you're Tom Brady. That's the one exception to that rule.
Maybe, but even then, he needs an offensive line to throw the ball. So got to go with the name on the front and not the name on the back. But believe me, it did cross my mind when I found this cute little statistic. But outside of that, and focusing more on this year, Atlanta has struggled getting its defense off the field. They're second worst in allowed time of possession this season, which is not a great formula for success against a high-powered offense like the Bucs. Also, just want to add that to piggyback on how I really like this Bucs offense. I'm not a huge fan of Raheem Morris's bend, don't break defense, and this was something that I scratched my head at for numerous years when he was in LA. So I just think this is too of a high-powered offense to kind of just have this bend, don't break mentality on the defensive side of the ball. And lastly, the Falcons, it's been an emotional season. They've had game after game after game where it's coming down to the wire. There's a no call on a pass interference. You got massive field goals. So between these games with the Eagles, Saints, and Chiefs, I just think that they're going to have a bit of a regression after just emotional game after emotional game after emotional game. So I got the Bucs winning by roughly a touchdown, as long as they can continue to protect Baker Mayfield. He did struggle a little bit last week, where the offensive line did, giving up 7 sacks. So if they can protect him this week, then I got to go with the Bucs. I think that this is Vegas has got this one wrong in terms of the line as well as the money line.
Yeah, I was gonna say they gave you 2 points for home field. So if this was in Tampa Bay, this line might be a little bit different on the other side. But after hearing all of what you said, what I'm thinking in my head is taking the over on total field goals for this game, because bend don't break defense, offense stays on the field, all that stuff. And I'm kicking myself because I almost did that for the Titans and Dolphins game. And of course, that game starts out with 9-3, and I'm sitting there hitting myself in the face for not taking the over on field goals. But that might be a good angle to this game for sure.
I mean, I think them close games from Atlanta builds grit for later on in the season. Especially against divisional rivals. The close game against the Saints, they got it done. The Aints, that's what they call it. And if it comes down to a close game once again, like I said, I'm sticking with them Dirty Birds, man. Come on, man. Don't make me do the dance on y'all, man. Come on now.
I was going to, we'll beat out when you usually pick game picks differently than us. It usually goes pretty well. I have some nightmares of you chanting Jets, Jets on us. So hopefully we don't have that again where you're flexing on us on Friday for these picks.
We're going to see.
All right, so we're gonna finish up today by taking a look at our Week 5 overview for the Sunday games, and this is located on the home page of the Elite Picks app. So we're going to start with the quarterback position. John, anybody stick out to you on this overview list for quarterbacks for Week 5?
Well, I always like to look at the best matchup category first, but seeing both Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield on there makes me think about looking at the over/under prop on the Thursday night game for that reason, based on their opponent ranking of 25th and 28th. That's passing yards against or secondaries. So I like that matchup. And then obviously Josh Allen every week versus Houston this week with an opponent rank of 24th. That could be a shootout game for sure, because the Bills defense looks like they can't stop the run all of a sudden. And so that game could be going back and forth quite a bit. Yeah. Sorry, B-Dot. I was disappointed as well with what with what occurred on Sunday Night Football. But okay, B-Dot, what do you like on here? What sticks out? Your boy Lamar at Cincinnati.
Come on, man. He's riding that high off what he did to your team last week. I'm thinking, man, look, Lamar Jackson about to go crazy against Cincinnati Bengals. I feel as though they're overrated. It's Lamar Jackson, man. He's finding his swag. He getting more relaxed. With getting Derrick Henry incorporated in the game. So I feel as though Lamar Jackson is going to have a hell of a week this come Sunday at 1 p.m. versus those Cincinnati Bengals. So y'all better look out for that. Whoever have fantasy teams, start Lamar Jackson. It should be a gimme. It should be a gimme regardless of who you got, unless it's Josh Allen. But at the end of the day, I think Lamar and the boys gonna get it done, especially with the combination of his legs and the arm. That top ceiling, I'm going with that. That number one guy right there, ALJ.
I'd like to have a fantasy team where I get to choose between starting Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen every week. That'd be a dream.
Man, they only got to be like 5 teams in that fantasy league.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Tyler, I was gonna say, what looks good to you for the quarterbacks?
Yeah, so I'm going to look at the best matchup here, and I'm going to go with Brock Purdy. I know there was a lot of questions about him sort of being a game manager. Can he really be a guy to lead an offense and chuck the ball over the yard when maybe those huge weapons aren't out there? And in my opinion, he's done a great job of leading the offense and throwing the ball around without guys like McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, and Kittle in some instances. So, and when looking at the matchup in particular, Cardinals defense, mediocre at best, if I'd say. If you look at their QBR ratings for opposing quarterbacks, they've given up the 3rd highest so far this season. So I really do think this is going to be a smash spot for Purdy to be able to have a big week, especially after last week where they really just decided to feed the ball to Jordan Mason and to kind of take some of the pressure off of Purdy. So I think this is a great week to start Purdy in fantasy or maybe some DFS lineups, or even look at some of those props.
Yeah. Usually the most dependable thing about the best matchup category is who's playing Washington that week will show up. And unfortunately this week it's Deshaun Watson. So this is your week off from taking passing props against the Washington Commanders defense, which I have been doing a lot so far, and it's been going well. So, but anyway, you guys want to move on? Sorry, B-Dot, go ahead.
I'm just saying, you said Deshaun Watson, and going against that Washington offense, you got to take the over on attempts per usual.
Exactly. I was gonna say he got there this week. I had my little parlay over on attempts, under on yards. That hit pretty soundly. So actually, I thank God there was a touchdown called back. I think Amari Cooper had this huge touchdown that called back on a holding penalty. It was like 80 yards, and so that saved my butt. But anyway, all right, running backs. I was gonna say, Tyler, you want to start us out?
Yeah. So. I'm going to stick with the best matchup again and go with Joe Mixon against your Bills. You sort of hinted at it in the last segment, and you could even be more specific in terms of the guys that are injured. But I know this Bills defense is pretty banged up. And if you look at last week, they let Derrick Henry pretty much run to the store, run out to go get groceries, maybe stop at the bar. They pretty much let him run all over the field in any capacity possible. So with this matchup, with Joe Mixon coming back off an injury, I don't think the Texans are afraid to let him run the ball. In week 1, he had 30 touches against the Colts, if I'm not mistaken, and had 160 yards rushing. As much as I think we all love to see C.J. Stroud and these wide receivers eat. I think the Texans know that they need to establish the run and run the football in order to let those wide receivers as well as that play action game really come to life. So I expect Mixon to be heavily involved in this game on Sunday, unless Josh Allen just turns into Superman again and the Texans fall too far behind. But I like Mixon for running backs this week.
Yeah, honestly, it kind of plays into the Mixon thing either way you go, because if the Texans dominate the line of scrimmage and have a good time against the Bills linebackers, which is what Baltimore did. Baltimore ran the ball so well that the Bills don't like running 4-3 at all, because they have two backup linebackers right now. And when they go 4-3, that means they need to bring in the third backup linebacker at that point, because their nickel corner, Teron Johnson, has been out for a while here. And obviously Matt Milano and their starting middle linebacker have been out since the beginning of the year, since the first game. So they're injured in the middle. The Bills corners are great this year. Christian Benford has been playing really great outside. I think their corners will match up well with Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, which is a tough task. So either way, whether, Houston is, trying to establish the run, or if they're just trying to pass, the Bills will likely invite them to run a little bit by playing light boxes if they can. That's what they did against Miami, because they're like, you can run the ball as much as you want. We'll give you 4 yards of carry, but that won't be enough, because it's better than getting 10 yards of reception from Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So I think it might be a similar thing. They're going to play light. Joe Mixon, even if the Texans lose, will still get his numbers for sure. I put him over 60 or 70 yards rushing in this matchup for sure. But I was going to say, that was a lot on Joe Mixon, but B-Dot, you got anything that sticks out to you?
Man, I'm going to piggyback off Tyler, man. I'm going to go with a different JM, though. I'm going with Jordan Mason. He just pretty recent, just talked about Brock Purdy giving him a little, relief, giving the ball to Jordan Mason. And look at that opponent rank, man, 28th against the Arizona Cardinals. They're not the best defensive team in the league, as we see. San Francisco is going to be at home. Jordan Mason's been having a hell of a year, and I think he's going to have a great game against those Arizona Cardinals. Man, I'm looking for something like around 105, 110 yards, and 1 touchdown in the red zone.
For sure. The last thing that I'll say on here, I don't know if I love Ramondre Stevenson on yards here. Like, he has a great matchup against Miami. But Ramondre Stevenson is going to have a very high attempt line going into this week playing Miami, because Miami can't score. New England loves ugly games. This is probably going to be a 15 punt matchup kind of game. So I like Ramondre Stevenson's over whatever it is, probably on carries in that matchup. With
carries, I'm about to put that down.
Yeah. Be not taking notes over there. I love it.
Come on, man. Y'all giving me some gems, man.
I did see a quote. I believe it was today or yesterday about Stevenson, and Mayo actually said that Gibson may get the opportunity to start this upcoming week, or at least get an increased role.
All right. Well, that's
so I would definitely see that though, and monitor that. Just in case. I know Belichick is out, but I'm generally weary with how the Patriots operate, just because they hide so much, and from a betting standpoint, it seems like it's always hard to grasp what they're doing. But which honestly, that statement was a huge surprise to me, because Stevenson has had a good couple weeks to start the season, and was sort of their number one. So totally understand the thought process, especially with how we saw Huntley play against the Dolphins last week.
Yeah, so maybe look at Antonio and Gibson. Yeah, for sure.
We know these coaches like to throw mind games out there. They may say one thing and have the defense prepare for that, and Stevenson goes crazy. I know the coach was telling Deshaun Watson that he wanted to use his legs more, and Deshaun was like, "Man, look, bro, I'm not a running quarterback. I like to sit in the pocket and throw that thing." So, as you see, he surpassed attempts last week. So, let's hope. I done already put the money in on Stevenson. Okay, so let's fingers crossed.
I was gonna say that's good. It's good. Let's see what we got next. Wide receivers. I was gonna say, what looks good to you on here, B-Dot?
What am I looking at, man? I'm looking at. Woo! I'm gonna go. Come on, man. We're gonna go with a sleeper pick, man. We're gonna go with my boy Zay Flowers, man. Zay Flowers versus those Cincinnati Bengals. Like I said, it's in the middle of the opponent rank, 15. But I think Zay, like I said, he has that Tyreek Hill potential, that Tyreek Hill speed, that Tyreek Hill height, that Tyreek Hill elusiveness. And I think he has a great game this week versus the Bengals. I think they're going to be are relying a lot on Derrick Henry, thinking he's gonna, dominate, and that's just gonna open up those passing yards, especially that play action with Lamar and Henry's gonna give Zay a lot of opportunity. So I'm gonna go with the sleeper picks today. I feel Zay Flowers. This is gonna be his week, man. Come on, Zay. I need you. I'm putting you down. I got you now for $10, Zay. $10. Matching you with Nico.
That's a good match right there. I spy the Washington defense. I found them. Amari Cooper, best matchup, opponent ranked 32nd. I'm probably going to be all over whatever his line is. That sounds like a good matchup. Like I said, Amari Cooper, we just mentioned it earlier, had like an 80-yard touchdown reception that got called back because of a holding penalty. So even with, the ghost of Deshaun Watson throwing you the football, I think Amari Cooper still has a good game against the Washington secondary. And Browns are going to need to throw the football to keep up with that Washington offense. So, the Cleveland offense versus the Washington defense might look a little bit XFL like on the field, but I think both teams probably put up some points in that one for sure.
Jaden's been hooping too.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that side of the ball, the Cleveland defense versus the Washington offense, that's going to look like some good NFL action. I'm just saying the opposite of that is it's going to be interesting for sure. Tyler, what looks good?
Yeah. So for me, I know I keep going to that best matchup bin throughout some of these positions, but in terms of fantasy football, DFS, as well as props, definitely eyeing up Jaden Reed against the Rams. He's done a fantastic job this year, even under some of the circumstances with not having Jordan Love playing. But when Jordan Love's been playing, he's pretty much been the 1A. I would say with Wicks as well. Wicks has been getting a ton of targets, but Reed should eat against this Rams defense in the passing game. Rams are getting back their number one cornerback this week, but I still just think there's too much talent in this wide receiving core, as well as just Jordan Love's ability, where they're going to make sure Reed can get his touches, whether it be in sweeps or somehow getting him able to rush the ball, but obviously through the passing game. So this is a guy I drafted late on one of my fantasy teams, and he just each week he's like, why do you keep sitting me? Why do you keep sitting me? So this is a week where I'm putting him in that flex spot and really giving him a shot, because once Love came back last week, that was at least a test for me to go, okay, he really likes Reed. So the combination of it being against the Rams, and the Rams don't typically play well against the Packers. So give me Reed for wide receivers for our overview for week 5.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, we got anybody else on here? We ready to move to running backs?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I think.
I'm sorry. Tight ends. Yes. Sorry. I see. I wanted to skip tight ends so bad that I was just ready to do running backs again. So
the position has been so non-existent that it almost wasn't existent on the overview page. So
I was gonna say, apparently tight ends peaked in like 2022, but I don't know. NFL defenses, man, they're getting it done against the tight ends. I say, who looks good on here, B-Dot? You got anybody that stands out?
Man, I'm just gonna close my eyes and the way they've been playing, and boom. Okay, we have best matchup right here. I'm gonna go with Cole. I can't even pronounce his name. Cole Kmet, man. against the Chicago Bears. Looking at that opponent ranked 26. So yeah. That's all my information I got on Cole, man. He's got one good game this year where he's over 100 yards so far, but he's like, I mean, you look at his totals, it's up and down. So a good matchup might be a good reason to stick with him. But Evan Ingram has been missing in action for half the games as well, as has every tight end, right? Like Travis Kelce up there as well. George Kittle has been a little bit up and down, but he's been injured as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Cole. Just Andy Dalton, he has that offense, looking pretty decent. His last, couple starts and getting that starting role, and security blanket. And Cole Kmet, it's the Chicago Bears, which is not a great team at all. And it's a daytime game. It's crazy, when the tight ends, you gotta incorporate everything. It's a daytime game, so the sun's gonna be out. It's gonna be good weather. You gotta try to find something with these tight ends, to make them look better than they are. So. I got Cole Kmet with a pretty solid game against those Chicago Bears, man. What do you got? What you guys looking at on here, man?
I like it. I'm definitely going to be sticking with wide receivers with most of my bets because tight ends are up and down. But if you have a hunch too, that means that, the books are trying to figure out where to put these guys' lines too. So if, high variance could be an advantage for you as well as from a betting standpoint or anything else. So, and if you're trying to stream tight ends because you didn't draft one high enough in your fantasy draft, like, good luck. Yeah. Sorry. Like it's tough, but you might have just as much luck as the next guy who's subbing in whoever he can on the roster. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for those, right?
Yeah, if I had to pick one guy over that list, Travis Kelce, just simply because there's nobody else. Rashee Rice just got hurt. I mean, some folks have been saying that Kelce's lost a step, but I just don't know. Kareem Hunt was literally on the street a few weeks ago, and he was playing last week. So
I was going to say he does that like twice a year now, right? Like he's been in that same situation for the last 2-3 years, right? Came back for the Browns after Nick Chubb got injured last year, right after he tore his ACL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with all that said, he's their number one. I mean, you got to find a way to get him the ball. So. Or at least or to get open. So he's the only one that sticks out just because everybody else is injured on at least their pass catching group.
Yeah. You might actually, I'm trying to think, I got to look at some numbers here, but you might actually consider like starting, if you're really hard up for tight end in your fantasy league, or you're looking at some props like Noah Gray and Watson, they're number 2 and number 3 tight ends, have been getting more yards than Travis Kelce so far this season. So maybe take a peek at those guys. And Tyler, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off before. I wasn't trying to take us out of the tight end segment early, but that's definitely a good point. And with all the injuries there, you would think that he's going to get some more volume, right? You would think. So yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes.
And no worries. This position has frustrated me beyond belief this year. Just rolling out Mark Andrews, just rolling him out there every week, and for the draft position that I took him in, it's been immensely frustrating. But nonetheless, hey, hopefully these tight ends can start getting it going soon. Not sure when National Tight End Day is. I know that tight ends like to eat during that day, so maybe we'll have to circle that on the calendar. And could be a good day to take the over for tight ends. But
for sure. 30 minutes before you swim.
Exactly. That's going to wrap it up for us today. I want to thank all of you for watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps out the channel immensely, and we appreciate it greatly. So leave a comment and also let us know what you'd like to see more of, what you're betting on, or maybe what player you might like this week the most in terms of DFS or fantasy. And also, please take advantage of our free trial for the Elite Picks app. The link is in the description below. Good luck, everybody. We are going to be back on Friday to go over our Week 5 Sunday and Monday night game. We'll see you all next time, and have a great one.